Welcome, very special Golan-Globus Tippy Tap 62.
We haven't done one in so long, I don't even remember.
And we have never done one quite like this.
But I think you guys, knowing that, well, Griff's a fan of the Mad Max series. I'm the authority on the Mad Max series. So
you've grown with the Mad Max series. I've experienced it later in life.
Right. And it's the Road Warrior, Mad Max 2, for all you non-Americans. It's a very special movie to me. It's my favorite movie. It's a movie I've seen the most times in my life.
Yeah.
I am an authority on that movie, I would say. I don't know, maybe on the movie itself. I'm not one of those guys that knows all the backstory.
I was going to say, you don't know the behind the scenes. You just take it as the theatrical experience. This is what I get, and it is fucking superb.
Right. I think, in my humble opinion, it's the greatest action movie ever made.
Right.
And it resonates with me on a personal level, too. So
you might work some nostalgia into there. You might work all that into there. But I got to tell you, as a person who came to it late in life, I saw it for my first time for real. I saw it for my first time at 25.
Wow.
I was like, this is good. I saw it again through Golan-Globus eyes, probably when I was 30. I was like, yeah, this is great. And then I saw it again as we were ramping up for this. And I was like, and it is a top 3 movie for me.
Wow.
I don't know if it's number 1, but if you're not fucking around here, that movie gives you so much. Road Warrior, that is.
Right, Mad Max 2.
Fucking incredible. So, of course, when we talk about the Mad Max world evolving and moving on and continuing, that's where we come from.
Right. So we're going to open up the review with just a simple question to each other, because we have not discussed this at all.
Yes.
We both saw this movie separately. That's how we agreed to do it this way.
Yes.
We didn't want us influencing each other. We wanted to give our honest gut reaction to this movie.
It's the first time we've ever actually saved something for the pod.
Exactly. So you're getting our honest. He's for the first time he's hearing what I think, and I'm hearing what he's saying.
And we're actually, we've been doing this for 6 years. We're chomping at the bit for this.
Right.
I'm excited to talk about this because
this is the first. We haven't done this before.
It doesn't, are we ready to do this? Can I start doing this thing?
Yeah.
Because this movie, I can recommend it. Mm-hmm. I would say it is interesting, and people should go watch it. And I think you should go see it at the theater. We both had the full shaky seat thing. I'm not into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. You don't need to see it there, but I still think we should honor the theaters and go see it there.
My opinion on whether I liked it or not, I have to clarify. I think this is the only way I can talk about these movies. There's the Mad Max trilogy,
yes,
and there's the Fury Road movies.
Yes.
If I'm looking at Furiosa through the eyes of, is it a Mad Max movie? I do not like it.
Yes.
If I'm looking at it as its own creation outside of the Mad Max world, I agree with you. It's worth seeing. It's not awful. It's a good movie. It didn't blow my mind.
Yes. Furious Erection?
No Furious Erections.
Neither.
But as we're going to go through this review, we're going to talk about things we liked and what things we didn't like.
Right.
I went into this with the lowest of expectations.
Same.
So I had no agenda. I love this series. I told you.
George Miller is still out here doing it. I want to believe in George Miller.
Right. Well, I think what I'm going to get into, I did it before on our Road Warrior episode. George Miller, hands down, great director. I'm not going to take anything away from him. Okay, he's one of the best directors of action out there, and he's doing it at 80, which is pretty fucking. And he looks great. You've seen him; he looks great for 80. I couldn't believe he was 80 years old.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the black heart and soul of this movie is producer Byron Kennedy, who was the producer on Mad Max and Road Warrior, and died after Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Because to me, the pinnacle
was that during Road War or Thunderdome.
Right before. He died in a helicopter crash.
Okay.
Ironically, because there's the gyro captain in Road Warrior. because he gives, because we're dealing in a post-apocalyptic world. He gives it that cynicism, that darkness that I think the movie needs, that I don't think George Miller brings to these movies.
Yeah.
George Miller, you can tell in his heart, wants to have a happy ending.
100%. I mean, he went on to do Happy Feet.
Exactly. And that's why I think Road Warrior has one of the greatest endings of all times. You get a hero who wants nothing to do with people.
Yes.
Through happenstance, he winds up with these people. He loses everything. He does it, everything he owns, his worldly possessions. So he's like, fuck it. I'm going to help these people. One last thing. I'm on a suicide mission. I don't care if I live or die because I have nothing. I'm going to help these people. That'll be my last act in this world. Get out from these bad guys and get the gas out. And then they fuck the guy over.
Yes.
They use him as a decoy. And that is so cynical and so brilliant. And that's why I fucking love it. And even at the end, he has to laugh about it. He's like, fuck. Like, he sees the sand coming out, and he's just like, they fucked me, man.
Yeah.
And he just has a smirk. He's just like, yeah, I love that.
So what happens in Road Warrior, what happens is you have that bleakness constantly reminded. When you feel like you have an up, it's actually a fucking down. And when you're doing a post-apocalyptic movie, you're like, yes, of course. All these people are just fucking scratching at each other's throats to survive. So that's the Mad Max world we fucking live in and we love in the trilogy. Not so much the third one, but definitely the second one and a little bit in the first one.
But that's why I think, and I'm putting any shade on George Miller because their production company is still called Kennedy Miller Production. He never has ever said like that Kennedy it was just a me thing.
Yeah.
The way an analogy I'll use is Stan Lee from Marvel Comics. Yeah. Okay, for a longest time, the idea was Stan Lee invented all these characters, and it was just him. That was the Marvel story. And then as we learned later on, no, it was the art. What they would do is, it's called the Marvel style of writing, where Stan Lee would just come up like a paragraph worth of ideas. Make a story out of this, and then after the artist would draw it, he would just write dialogue for it.
Okay.
So it was because he was literally writing everything. But it wasn't really writing, it was a collaboration. And so what the problem was then what came around is everyone's like, well, Stan Lee's a fucking hack. He was just taking credit for everybody's, like Jack Kirby's work and all. No. It was a collaboration.
It was, yeah.
Marvel Comics was great because of what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did together, because they never did anything great apart.
Okay.
And I think that's the same thing about this movie. I totally think we would get totally different movies if Byron Kennedy was still alive and working with George Miller. I don't know if they would be successful movies, because I think a lot of people, they want the happy ending, you know?
Quite possibly, yeah.
But to me, the heart and soul
Also, just where we're at with theaters today. And because this movie is being panned as a box office failure.
Yeah.
And Memorial Day weekend, we have these expectations. Fury Road did so well. Why isn't Furiosa doing those?
It didn't, though. Mad Max, with the exception of the very first movie, the Mad Max series has never done hugely well. I know that sounds insane considering how influential it was. Insane how influential it was.
Yeah.
I mean, Road Warrior spawned a whole genre.
Yeah.
Of the like, when you think in your head what is post-apocalyptic, it's Road Warrior.
Yeah, I don't want to like fuck it. We could do this all day.
Yeah.
So let's not get too way down on doing all that. But seriously, if you want to say Fury Road is the best Mad Max movie, just look at the fucking 80s B movies. Everything was inspired by fucking Road Warrior.
Well, I want to say about the people who say the Fury Road's the best. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing?
What are you
Because
seeing?
To me, and I enjoyed it. I liked Furiosa. I didn't hate it. But to me, it's, especially Fury Road, story-wise, very shallow. There's not much going on, if anything at all. It's all spectacle. It's all sizzle, no steak.
Exactly.
And like, yeah, there's amazing shit happening, but do I care about these people? I don't know. I don't think so.
Even the original trilogy does a better job of getting your focus in the right place. Like, these movies, it's just like, you have a car and nothing else. At least Road Warrior had the fucking town, and they had, like, you know, the threats just outside the town, and like Fury Road and Furiosa, it was just like it was weird. We'll get into that
Watching
more.
these movies, Fury Road movies. We'll basically say Mad Max
And the
for the
Fury,
old
yeah.
movies, Fury Road for the new movies.
Yeah.
We're talking. That's the words
The
we
Fury
use.
world.
It never felt real to me. I
Nope.
never felt grounded. To me, it might as well have been Middle Earth. It never felt like a real place. It felt like a fantasy land.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the other Mad Max world, totally. Even though you had outlandish shit, you had crazy like guy with a fucking metal ski mask or hockey mask, bodybuilder dude. It still felt like it was real.
Right. And it seemed so pieced together. Where that's one of the details I was looking for in this movie is that Mad Max has always felt like people grabbing whatever they could.
Right, I agree
And
with you.
everything I saw in Furiosa, in the Furyverse, I was just like, no, there's just abundance of shit.
I know. Like,
they're
where
just
were they
dressing-
getting this shit? Like
Like-
the war rig looked brand new.
Yeah.
It had all this crazy. Like, how are they getting the resources to make these things?
And I mean, I don't know.
Like
how,
everything looked lived in the Mad Max world. Like
Yeah.
all this shit looked grubby. Their clothes, fucking people. Like these are scavengers, and they're wearing like tailored like leather jackets that are clean.
Yes.
Like it's like I mean, and I want to give props though to the people who, like I said, if I'm watching the Fury world as like a fantasy world, like almost like a fairy tale movie.
Yeah.
The set design and the costuming are fantastic.
Sure.
There's a feast for the eyes. But like I said, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel lived in or grounded to me at all.
Yeah.
And that's my gripe with it.
Right. The first three movies are trying to just make it like Mad Max 1 it is right up there for me because it feels like a world that has it's like right on that teetering of like chaos. And I love it for that. And I think Toe Cutter is an amazing villain. And Cunnilingus wants his hand back. And they do such a good job balancing that. And then, of course...
It's Kundalini, by the way.
Yeah, I know. But then, you get into the second one where you get more... You see it go the other way into, like, the chaos. But it feels like it's on that scale of the first movie. And then the third movie, I don't know what the fuck to
You
tell
feel the desperation, and you never feel that in the Fury world, because like you said, it's a world of abundance. And, I'm like, why? Where?
Yeah.
Where are they getting the metal for all of this shit? Where there's only so many people. Like,
Yes.
how do you produce this shit?
I want to go ahead and maybe we'll use it.
Where are the craftsmen and all this shit,
Yes. Maybe we'll use this to break into the movie. I do
Okay.
want to say there is a comic book that came out that explains some of like the Mad Max Fury
there was
world.
this, when Fury Road came out, there was like 3 or 4 comics that came
I
out.
think
They
it was 4.
touched on what Max was doing beforehand, how Morton Joe rose up, and about Furiosa. And
I think it's supposed to be canon though
yeah.
in the Furyverse.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But and also the Mad Max video game, which was a really fun video game, I enjoyed playing it, also had elements that characters from this movie are in the game.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, like Scrotus, the son, not the muscular son, but the other son. They
Yeah.
have, you kill him in the game.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But So we'll get into now. Let's get into the movie now.
Let's go
Talk
ahead.
about things we liked, things
So
we didn't
wrap
like.
up the original. We both say it is a recommendable movie. It is not
Yeah, I
atrocious.
think
It's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to see it because it's for a mainstream movie for $200 million. How much it cost? It's weird. It's a weird. I understand why it's bombing.
Yeah.
because it's so weird, and I love that George Miller stuck to his guns. It's an R-rated movie because the studio want these new ones to be PG-13 because they want to get those kids in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So he stuck to his gun. I respect that. And like I said, it's such a weird movie. I understand why it's bombing, why it's not mainstream. So I'm glad he did that. But yeah, I just don't think it lacks the desperation of a real post-apocalyptic world that we get so much in the other movies.
It doesn't have enough to grab you, and we'll use this as a lead-in. This movie is shot in, like, the story's told in, like, 5 parts.
Yeah, chapters.
Which is already my biggest fucking gripe with this movie. It doesn't seem like George condensed it for a good movie script. Because this first act was dog shit. I hated it.
I will say at least there was a story, which I thought was lacking in Fury Road.
Okay.
But at least you got a story.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't just like, we're going to go here and then we're going to turn around. That's Fury Road.
Yes.
That was just pure visual spectacle. Like, to the point where they didn't have a script. They just had storyboards for Fury Road.
That's right, yeah.
So, I mean, he's a great visual filmmaker.
Yeah.
But, yeah, at least this had more of a story to it.
We're opening up. We're getting to learn that Furiosa, despite what I imagine her upbringing would have been, she grew up in a fucking oasis. She was growing up in perfection. They had windmills and solar panels and water and trees and fruit trees.
Yeah.
And she was still a fucking dog of the wasteland somehow. Like, I didn't get this, and I didn't like this.
Well, I guess kind of you could explain it as they want to protect this land. They don't want, because it opens up with scavengers in. By the way, there's going to be spoilers for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's, in case you haven't seen it, go see it first and then come back.
Yeah.
There's scavengers in there, like, so you have to be kind of tough to protect your land.
Right.
So I'll give that a pass. Here's one thing that bugged me. This is my major beef with this movie.
Is this in this act, or is this glanciary?
It happens in this act. It happens throughout the movie. Okay. Because I'm hearing a lot. I've heard this more than once from people. They're like, to me, this is the most Road Warrior movie of the series. Like Road Warrior. And I know why people are saying that, and I hate it. Because this is why. Because subliminally, and these were, I can tell, I've seen Road Warrior more times than any other movies. Yeah. I picked up on it instantly. But I think other people who aren't as deep into it are subconsciously picking up on it. There were so many visual callbacks to Road Warrior throughout this movie. And I'll point some of them out. But one of them being, I think you probably noticed this. Maybe you didn't subconsciously picked it up in the intro, because they're hammering you in the beginning. The sped up footage.
Yep.
Because that's what they did in Road Warrior, because you couldn't obviously have a fucking Ford Falcon drive off-road. So they had to speed the footage up to make it seem faster than it was going.
The CGI fast-forward action in the first act drove me fucking insane.
Yeah.
I have given the fast-forward action, I was like, this is George Miller's thing. It works when you're doing like the grindhouse of the old movies. We have no budget.
Exactly.
But when we see fucking Furiosa's foot get whipped, and it's like in this janky fast-forward CG, I was like, oh my God.
Right.
We need to get over this now. Like, I was so ready for this first act to be over.
Yeah, I thought the CGI was especially obnoxious in the first chapter.
It was, the first chapter or two, it was bad.
I feel as if, like, in a way, I mean, there's not, because George had plans to do Mad Max Wasteland was going to be the next movie. I doubt it's going to happen now because this movie's tanking so hard, and I'm kind of glad, because I think, or what my ideal situation would be, I would like them to do it with half the budget. Let George have to use his creativity, because I think he's fallen way too into the CGI void, like the vortex.
These forced to
where he's too in love with the toys he can play with now, and he's like, because everything is filtered to within an inch of its life. The skies are too blue.
Oh my God!
The fucking sand is too orange.
And I had one friend who was into Fury Road, and I just said the first act is rough. Stick with it. It does get better, but that's my opinion, obviously. But no, it was hard because they did the end of Fury Road when they did like all that CGI, and they're in like the wasteland trying to find the Oasis, Fury's Oasis. They did all that CGI. It looks so awful to me. It doesn't look good. I'm being the
And
asshole.
I think the CGI is worse in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm being the asshole here and saying, I don't want an Oasis in my Mad Max film. I want complete fucking depression. So that completely me being a fucking piece of shit. I didn't like that there was an Oasis. I liked the idea better where there was just never been an Oasis.
Okay. I also want to say that I do not hate the Furiosa character. She's fine. I don't have issues with her. I think a lot of people... A lot of people in Fury Road had this issue, oh man, this feminist agenda and all this shit. And I'm the first to complain about shit like that. And I didn't see that. Because to me, the message of Fury Road was you need men and women working together in order to have a functioning society.
Yeah.
Because both sides failed.
Yes.
Because the Oasis fucking dried up.
Yes.
So the women didn't have all the answers either.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I didn't have an issue with that. I think that's the way it should be. And we're not hammered with Furiosa as the biggest badass in the world.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm glad you brought that up because I already brought up the thing like, why is she a badass of the wasteland when she grew up in an Oasis? I love where the Furiosa story picks up in a few acts. I hate these acts. They don't help me understand Furiosa at fucking all. Like, it gets me nowhere closer to respecting her as a badass of the wasteland. And that's my problem with these first two acts. It should have been done in a 3-minute montage, and then it should have got to her working her way up on rigs or something.
Well, I think they wanted to play up the whole Dementis, why she wanted to kill him kind of thing.
I don't know when I should quote.
We're just going to jump around. I don't want to go from chapter to chapter. I think we should just jump around things we like and didn't like.
You don't even want to do it sequentially?
No. We're doing it differently this time.
We've never done this.
What I'm saying is like not like our normal reviews. By the way, this isn't going to be a normal review. We're not going bit by bit, like breaking it down because we just saw it in the theaters for fuck's sake.
I've got a few notes scribbled down, and that's about it.
I hated Dementis. He was a goofball Marvel villain.
Yes.
Nothing about him felt menacing.
Nope.
All the villains in the first two were menacing. They seemed like scary guys you wouldn't want to fuck with who rape and murder and do all this shit.
Yeah.
He was like a clown. I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, and they even play it up in the movie. Like, he can't even control his own gangs. This guy's a fucking idiot. But how are you going to control, like, in this world, these kind of people without being a hard, badass type guy? Mm-hmm. And people are like, well, Donald Trump's a goofball and he's the president. He's the president in a world where you can be a fake tough guy.
Yeah,
he's a fake tough guy. This is a dog eat dog world.
I was just gonna say, you said it right there, dog eat dog world. This is where the amount of population they are working with, the scale they're working with in the new Fury world, which I hate. I hate the big cities. The Citadel is dog shit to me. I hated it in Fury Road. I hate it in this movie. Bullet Town makes sense to me a little bit because it's just like a giant fucking rock quarry.
Yeah.
But Gas Town makes no fucking sense to me. Like, they have a whole fucking, like, oil rig that they just built in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is this world? So, we still like these movies, everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just so...
If we like them, if we view it as it's a fantasy movie.
Exactly. It's so far from the Mad Max world that it's not going to live in that scale. It's going to be down further because of that. And so it's like when you're working with Dementis and he's got a gang of 500,000 people, and I liked some of the fucking shit they did with them. I like the historian things they kind of do where the guys have like all the shit scrawled out on their face. I like that. I think that's kind of a neat little detail into a world where, again, scarcity is a thing. Paper apparently is scarce. Bullets, gas, everything else. We've got plenty of that. Paper we don't have. We don't wipe our ass. We just fucking,
handful of sand and wipe our ass.
It's like we got gas aplenty. Just wipe your ass with gas. But paper we don't like.
And water and food. Yeah.
Like, that's the weird thing about this world where George was just like, I want my Marvel world now. I'm doing this, and
Well, here's one thing. I think as we're just shitting on it, I gotta say one thing I like about it is the world building. And like, once again, if I'm looking at it, is it a fantasy world? I'm not looking at it as this could be our possible future, because there's no way it could be. If I'm looking at a fantasy world, I like the whole fucking cult that Immortan Joe has.
Yeah.
Like, you have these different factions, these different worlds.
Yeah, I like that too.
I mean, obviously a lot of thought went into making these movies. I'm not, shitting on George for that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this to me isn't Mad Max.
Exactly. When you approach it as not Mad Max, because it's like the scale everything is at is so fucking far. It's an ant compared to human beings.
And was it just me, but I felt a lot of the action scenes felt like this would make a great video game, but not a great film. Like, there were just scenes, like, I'm particularly seeing it, I could totally see being in a video game, was the scene where Furiosa was living at the Citadel, but she was like a kid still. She was like 12 or something, and they were pulling up the crane. Like, I totally see that being a task in a video game.
Okay, yeah.
Like, why was that needed?
I still kind of want to do this in order just to keep our thoughts going in a correct.
Well, I just want to know, the one biggest pet peeve I had is toward the middle of the film.
Was the video game?
No, that's not even. No.
Oh,
I'll let you.
You'll let me know. So the first act, what we get, and you know this because you watch this movie, you're not just listening to us blind. We get Furiosa getting. She goes and gets captured by Dementis. Her mom tries to rescue her. They're trying to say, don't let anybody know about our oasis. So they need to kill all the bikers who got in, no problem.
Right. Well, they stumbled on it. I can believe that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, like you said, I don't know how they just got in. If it's supposed to be so well, I guess they don't have enough people.
They're like living in this, like it's some kind of land structure and everything. So it was shocked to me. I was just like, how the fuck did they get in if they're so closed off and all that? But who cares? We'll move on. So they're doing a chase, and one of the goons has fucking Furiosa on the back of the bike, and she's fighting back. She's biting off the gas lines and everything because she's a warrior of the wasteland.
Right.
And again, I don't get the bona fides.
I'm okay with that because I think it's just because her mother was a badass and she's training her from birth. Like, you have to be tough.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with that.
Yeah. I feel like they could have done this part of it.
Like, I don't feel like she wasn't like so many. For some reason, it wasn't always like this because you had Sarah Connor, you had Ripley from Aliens, but a lot of women characters, I guess they're trying to make up for lost time. They're out of the womb badass.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. I didn't feel that way. Maybe you did. It's your opinion. I didn't feel that way about Furiosa in this movie, but I understand what you're talking about.
That's cool.
And it's irritating.
Like, I'm glad we don't have the same feeling on that because maybe it is just me. Maybe I was, because like I said, I hate the fucking big cities. I hated there was an oasis because I want the bleak shit. Right. I want the oasis to basically be like,
you want the struggle. Like,
exactly. The wasteland has always been struggle, absolute struggle. Maybe if they had water, but the fact that we see like the camera pan out and it's like you see fucking wind turbines, you see fucking solar panels and shit, and I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? What is this?
Right, like
who wouldn't see a wind turbine?
Well, on top of that, it's like, who are the people? Like, I couldn't figure that out. Like, how making a wind turbine, like, how are these people figuring this shit out?
It's so weird.
You figure, like, only the toughest in this world survive, and they're usually not the smartest.
Yeah.
So all like the scientists and shit probably would have gotten chopped up in the beginning of the fucking apocalypse.
Right.
And, I mean, and they kind of play up that where Dementis has his like master of the Lord, the guy with the tattoos, like, and he protects him because he needs that guy's information.
Historian.
Yeah, he needs his information.
And he had his guy who was like his bloodletter and everything, who gets sold off to Immortan Joe.
Yeah.
So he keeps his smart people around him and all that. He's got the very best people, as Donald Trump would say.
Right. It was like Anti-Entity had Master Blaster.
Yeah.
Because he was the only guy who knew how to get the fuel.
So we get one of the coolest weapons that I thought that was very Mad Max feeling to me. The slingshot in like the bike gear.
That made no sense to me.
It made no sense.
Because it looked cool.
It looked cool,
but
though.
You have this tiny little hole to shoot the pellet through. So 90% of the time it's going to smack you back in the face.
Unless you're really good at it. It's going to fucking hit the gear and come back at you.
But no, all the design work is amazing in this movie.
And this is where we get, Fury being handed off to Dementus. She's not going to talk. Mom comes to save her that night. Sand dune comes in because this is all the Fury Road world. It's always sandstorms.
Constant sandstorms.
And yes, they do play that song, the sandstorm. Do-do-do-do-do. You don't know that song?
No, I don't know.
Durag Sandstorm, I think it's called. No. So she saves her own child. She lets a woman live because she shows pity on the woman. And, of course, the woman goes and alerts everybody. So we get the ride out. They get to a cavern. Fury can't let her mom be alone, though. Even though she was given the bike, told to ride off, just save yourself. And she's got the peach pit, too. We got to mention.
Yeah,
she's got a peach pit she keeps in her hair.
Right.
Rides off, realizes her mom is fighting for her life, decides to come back and get captured. Watch her mom get burned at a stake.
Right.
Very, what's it called? Strip to kill. Xena was...
Look for that on Wednesday.
Yeah. Who is it, Fanny? Xena was inspired by that? Brandy, maybe?
Xena.
Xena.
Okay. So, like I said, there's tons of... And I think these, like I said, these work on a subconscious level on people that aren't as immersed in the world as I am. So many, visual callbacks. And they're tiny. I saw them, I could see, you'd be like, what are you talking about? Just like there's a scene where she gets, I forget what her mom's name was. But
I didn't catch her name.
When she goes off to leave to go get her, she gets that bullets wrapped up in a handkerchief, just like Mad Max gets the shotgun shells wrapped up in the handkerchief.
I saw that, yes.
And then there's a scene later on the war rig where one of the war boys gets set on fire and he tries to put himself out. That was the guy, the crippled guy on Road Warrior who got the water and he's trying to pat himself out. So it's all subtle.
I like that they didn't focus on it because so much today is focus, wink, Memberberry.
But I didn't like that because to me it felt like pandering to me specifically, the Mad Max fans.
Yeah, you're not doing a new movie. You're trying to wink at me.
It's like have your cake and eat it too. I'm doing this wholly different thing, but I'm gonna throw you some bones. And this is where this gets down to we're going ahead a little, but this was my biggest fucking thing.
You just need to get it out. Get it out. Get it out.
Praetorian Jack was fucking Mel Gibson. Road Warrior.
That's his
Max.
name?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He looked, there was no subtlety about it. He looked like a young Mel Gibson, dressed like Max. He had the fucking one shoulder pad on his leather jacket. To me, that was just trying to pander to me, the Mad Max fan, not the Fury Road fan.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of insulted by that.
I agree with you. I liked the character. I hated the outfit.
Well, of course you liked him, because he's Max. That was the thing. It was kind of
No, I did not see him as Max at all. I hated that they dressed him as Max, though.
But that's the thing. They're trying to shoehorn Max, because he's kind of it's have your cake and eat it too. Well, I want to do a Furiosa movie, but I don't want to piss off the Max fans, so I'll give them a Max surrogate.
Yes.
And that's what he was. I've heard no one talk about this, and to me, it's so obvious.
The RLM guys did not talk about that?
They didn't. They just fucking...
That's fucking dog shit because that needs to be talked about.
They didn't do any... They did a spoiler-free one. So
guys, that'll come up in the third part here. But still, it's like...
I agree with... the character was cool. I had no issue with him. I just felt like...
He played out completely different from Max, but yeah, they dressed him as Max. He was a straw man for us.
Yeah. And so that irked the shit out of me.
I agree with you 100%. I ended up liking the character, but I was like,
and it kind of felt like... So I think this is why he was trying to say, because that was obviously, he started out as a mentor and then it became like a lover of hers. Is that why she felt the connection to Max later on in Fury Road? Because he's a surrogate for Max in a way.
Oh, man.
And I didn't like that.
I don't like that at all. If that's what George
this is why I don't like prequels. The story in your head is always better than what they give you, people.
Yeah.
Stop with the prequels. I don't want to know the backstory. I'll create it myself. Just put me in that world.
Yes. And again, we've done this so many times throughout fucking 200 plus episodes or however many we're on here.
300.
We've talked about this shit constantly. And unfortunately, George Miller missed the mark. Because like I said, the first two parts of this movie are the parts I hate. And we can get over the second part in a fucking second. Because Furiosa's captured. She's in Dimension's hold. And for some reason, they're like, we gotta really bridge this gap on why Dimensions is crazy. He just rolls up to the Citadel, Immortan Joe's place, and says, hey, I own this place now. And they show off that a war boy is willing to sacrifice himself. He dies out with the bomb spears.
I don't know. Maybe you've seen it. I've never seen people talk about this, about the war boy
Never.
shit. In that, I think it's because people are so scary to be called racist or Islamophobic. But to me, the whole war boy structure is all fundamentalist Islam. It's about old men making young men sacrifice themselves. I mean, it's happened in other cultures, but now, what we're talking,
I would extend that to just theology in general.
Yeah, but right now in the year 2024,
yeah,
it's Hamas.
You're calling George Miller a pro Hamas guy?
No, I think he's critiquing it, and and you should, because it's fucked up. Because it's like he has these kids under his thrall. You're gonna get all your rewards when you die.
Yes,
I get everything. I get all the women that are left. The beautiful women are mine. Me, this old guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always done that throughout history.
Yeah.
But I'm saying right now,
I think the direct criticism you can make, probably, yeah. But yeah, theology in general, just the fact that it's like, I'm a living God, do what I say. Your gifts come later, when you're done, when you've served me. I get that. And I think it's an important message, and I also think it's kind of interesting because it's almost because like Immortan Joe's a reoccurring character that they're like, no, he's one of the guys you like. Remember, we made shirts of him. He's kind of cool. So I thought it was weird because it makes him look kind of cool.
He is the good guy. I think what they're trying to show is how crazy Dementus is next to him.
Yeah,
because he's more rational about it.
Right.
And Dementus is a wild card because he doesn't know how to lead.
But
then how is he fucking leading? That's what annoying. If there was never a moment where you could have been like, he plays the buffoon to get people's guard down, and he's really like this calculated guy. But I never felt that. He always felt like a big idiot.
Exactly. There's nothing in that first act, which lasts maybe like 12 minutes. So at least it's 12 minutes. There's nothing to sell you on Dementus. There's nothing that sold me on Furiosa at that point to make her feel like a badass of the wasteland. Her mom, obviously, cool as shit and all that. And you know what? They built that up in the Fury Road world with the women and all that.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I guess I kind of see that. But then we get into this act, and it's like, we're not sold on Dementus. Why is he just rolling up? Okay, he's crazy. His people are just getting bombed left and right. It's like half his forces should be gone. He's already got too big of an army, but then he's able to just take, and again, half the fun of watching the Furyverse is like the weird vehicles they come up with. And this is where we get to see Dementus has the fucking 3 motorcycle chariot.
Yeah, it's once again, in a fantasy world, that's cool.
Arrogance.
How is that working, though? How does that operate? He has reins on 3 Harleys.
But if Among Us was using that, you'd just be like, fucking Among Us. Like, come on. You could I know.
No, it's like I said, if you're looking at it through a fantasy world, it's cool.
But
it's not practical, though.
Even in Road Warrior.
Road Warrior literally looked like shit that was slapped together.
Yeah, that's true.
This looked like shit that you would need people who have skills to build.
Yeah. Like,
how are you building this out in the wasteland? Because at the beginning, when he had that chariot, he was a scavenger. He didn't even have a base. He was just a nomad.
That's right.
Where did this come from?
They had a scene that I kind of liked and I thought was going to play out a little bit more where they were praying at like the altar of the motorcycle. And that's kind of my Mad Max world I like to live in, where it's like, I have a vehicle, I have an engine, I have gas, I have oil. It can drive me. But again, it gets thrown to the fucking wind because there's an abundance of everything.
Well, that's also raises the question, when in the beginning, when he's just they're just like roving gangs, where are they getting gas?
Yeah, they never,
because they don't know about Gas Town at all at this time.
I think it would have been so much cooler if they worked in an angle where the Oasis scavengers had to go out and get something or whatever, and they get intercepted by Dementus, and they work up something that way. Just having the people start there and kidnap a girl, like, I think there's a lot better ways to get it done. And even the second act, because Dementus, again, like I said, Citadel, just there, hey, give me all your leaders. I'm going to murder them, and I rule you guys now. And so he gets bombed on. They have to flee. He almost loses Furiosa, but he manages to, like, rescue her. And he's just like, no, little D, you go with me. See how I rhymed that?
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. I don't even remember where they go back. Oh, you know what? They concoct their plan to take over Gastown.
Right.
They lick their wounds. They're
So,
watching.
yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much. I want to give some. Well,
Oh, we're spoiling the whole fucking
okay.
movie.
Like, they sneak like 5 people into Gastown and take over.
Yeah, I didn't get. They're doing the Trojan horse thing.
Yeah, they're pretending to be war boys.
They're war boys. He picks up sand, which is just pure white underneath and mud, and just slathers somebody with it. He's got the right hand man. Here's my other problem. Mad Max World is known for having like characters you notice in the peripheral.
Yeah.
Who was Porcupine Guy?
He was the leader of the paraglider gang.
Yeah. Because I never caught his name. I never got
I might have
anything.
thrown it out there, but I don't know it either.
Yeah. And it seemed like he kind of had a cool thing going on. There could have been a little bit more
But,
tension.
I mean, and this is my beef with just modern films. How everything has to be a spectacle. Yeah, on the surface, the paragliding attack was cool. It
Yes.
looked really cool. It's not Mad Max. Like it's too big. It's too out there. The war rig looked. I mean, and they do like a scene where they show them building war rigs.
Yes.
It looked too perfect, and it had these contraptions and traps. It had a fucking arm that grabbed shit. It was just too much.
Yeah, we're turning into
Meanwhile,
Outlaw Star here.
Road Warrior. They just weld some spikes here and there and like put some barbed wire on the side. It looked like once again, the abundance. I think that's the one word we have to just home in on with the difference between Fury Road and Mad Max World. Abundance.
That's always going to be, if anybody ever asks me, this is why these movies are never going to rank above 1, 2. It's hard to
3's the worst.
It's
all right,
hard
we'll
to
just
put,
say 3's the worst.
It's hard to put 3, even though like the. It
and that's
opens-
only bad because of the kids. If
Yeah.
they stayed in Bartertown and like worked some other story, it would be better.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, the first half an hour of Thunderdome is actually fucking pretty good because you're getting your first town in the wasteland.
Right.
And they're doing a whole story about one fucking small little town that Tina Turner is the queen of. That's a fucking cool story that I wanted to live in. And instead we got children.
Yeah.
And instead, then we go into the Furyverse where we got 3 giant fucking cities that I don't
Right.
want anything to do with.
Once again, how are they? I could. Oh, all right. I'll bite. All right. There was an oil rig out in the middle of the Australian desert.
Sure.
How do they build a metal city around? This is a huge fucking city, people.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did they have the workforce and the resources to do this?
Well, yeah.
Makes for a great video game because it's in the video game and it's cool. But if we're seeing a Mad Max movie, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah, and the Mad Max verse, which again, Max is in this universe for some reason, because he's trying to bridge that gap. It doesn't make sense, and obviously, again, guys, I know we don't have to say this, but we have to say this. We like these movies. They're weird. They don't belong in a Mad Max verse.
I like these movies as long as I watch them thinking it's not a Mad Max movie.
So
They're still not as good as the originals.
Yeah.
But I can enjoy them for what they are.
So we get a haphazard heist situation, Trojan horse situation, where Dementis paints some guys to look like war boys. We see that the Lord,
And to trick him, he kills some of his own guys.
the Lord of the king of
Gastown.
Gastown realizes like this is bullshit. Like they're fucking with us. So Dementis somehow realizes, oh, this isn't real enough. I'm gonna start killing the disguised war boys. We got the leader of the paragliders going, "You're a madman, Dementis." Might as well have been fucking Cobra.
Right.
And,
They have to tell us that.
Serp-
That's the thing, though. They have to tell us he's a madman.
Right. Again,
Because he's a goofball. Chris Hemsworth, he thinks he's in a Thor movie.
that was one of the scariest things when I.
And what's the point of the nose? How about the big fake nose that fucking Chris Hemsworth had? You didn't notice that?
I guess not.
Oh my God, you are face blind because you didn't notice Rutger Hauer's fake nose in Nighthawk.
Yeah.
He had the most fakest fucking, almost offensive Jewish looking nose.
Oh boy.
And it's like, how about this? First of all, nobody gives a shit about Chris Hemsworth. Hire a guy with a big nose if you want a guy with a big nose. Why are we like, let's hire this beautiful man and ugly him up. Just get an ugly guy. I'm so sick of this shit.
I know. I agree with this. I hate this so much. And I'm sure there's all these fucking gnarly looking dudes who are just like, hey, I'm gnarly. And I fucking know it. I don't give a shit. Let me play a role. There's so many Robert.
You want gnarly people. It's the fucking Road Warrior world.
There's so many Robert Zadars out there right now who are like, yeah, I know you might feel bad about casting me as a gnarly looking dude who rapes women or something, but you know how much attention I'm gonna get from this? You know how many people are gonna appreciate me more and are more like accepting of me because I've been portrayed this way? I have a feeling so many more like gnarly looking people would be like, yeah, fucking cast me instead of Chris Hemsworth uglied down. Charlize Theron nailed it in Monster, but I'm sure there's plenty of women who are already rough looking enough where like I could have played that role so much better. I worked the fucking streets. I could have played that role so much better.
Of course.
So, god damn it, man. Hemsworth fucking sucks.
He is to me the worst villain in the Mad Max world.
By far. No, bar none. And of course he gets the most attention out of any fucking Mad Max villain. So much screen time, so many fucking lines. I hated him. I hated him from scene 1 to scene 0. He fucking sucked. Chris Hemsworth, go back to Marvel. 4 Chris's of the Apocalypse. Go fuck each other. Because you guys should not be in movies. I'm dead serious. He ruined scenes for me. He sucked so bad. Could you name one scene with him you liked?
No, I can't.
There's one big scene coming up later, I didn't even like. And I was like, I don't even like this scene. This should be a good tension-building Mad Max scene. I feel nothing. I don't care because I'm just like, it's Chris Hemsworth.
If he, like I said earlier, if he had been like Goofy that was a ruse. Like he really was this really calculated guy, but he would play an idiot to make people's guards down. I would get it. No, he's a goof.
Yeah. George Miller's vision on Chris, how to act with it, like how to work with them, did not work at all. Anya Taylor-Joy, I thought was great in this movie. We're finally starting building up to
Didn't
her.
have the balls to shave her head, though. That was clearly a bald cap thing put on
was
her
it?
head. Yeah, because her head looked weird.
That's too bad. I wish she would have done it. I thought she was that gnarly of an actress to do it.
She's not.
Because, like, I was like, at times I was like, man, the rock star hair is not working for me, dog. Like, I'm excited to see her as the bald girl, but she didn't even go bald. I wish she would have. Well, I guess I'm glad she didn't because the movie bombed, but... All right, so we get the boring heist of Gastown. They take it over. They're like, hey, we got a new change of plans. So they use this to barter with the Citadel.
What I didn't understand at all. So they have the King of Gastown in a saw contraption, right? Yes. Why did... This is show how crazy he is? Why did Dementis have his nipples attached to this... contraption?
I don't know, because it kept cutting from the King of Gastown's nipples.
Because he's like, I can't hold it. I'm the only thing that's holding it from the spear impaling his head.
Right.
You only have like 5 seconds, and you got to agree to my terms, and then he lets it go because you can't hold it, and his nipples get ripped off because they're attached to the spear.
Right. And then you have the other guy, a Morton Jones guy with the nipple, and so you get the comedic bit, which, again... It wasn't for me, but it's fine that they had it in there because I like having the weird details in there.
Well, yeah, I mean...
The guy's got like a suit coat with the nipple holes cut off.
And he has a gas mask on his crotch.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great detail.
No, I like that. That's one thing I like about the world because it's like... I can be whoever I want in this world. Who gives a fuck?
That's what
I can be as freaky as I want to be.
I want dirty fucking scrap, just like people just, attaching it everywhere, but you can't do that for 100 people. Yeah. You can do that for like a couple people, maybe 50. But this movie has so many people in it. It's like you can't spread that wealth. Just weird. So anyways... They end up killing the King of Gastown in the middle of this barter situation. And he's just like, well, I guess I rule Gastown now. So we're going to make a trade. I get all this mother's milk because, as we know from Fury Road, Morton Joe has all these wives of his that, breast milk and all that.
Yeah.
He needs protein for his boys.
Right.
One of the details I thought were good about Dementus was like it seemed like his historian or maybe somebody else, he would detail the taste profiles of thing, and the guy would be like, "Let me write that down." I thought that was kind of interesting for a crazy character, but it did not help save Dementus as a character at all. He was fucking atrocious. But that was the one detail I liked about him.
Yeah, he had great abs too.
Well, you know.
Is there anything else you have written down?
Well, we got the fuck.
Should we say? I think we both agree. Anna Taylor-Joy did a good job as Furiosa.
Yeah, we clearly haven't got to Anna Taylor-Joy yet.
Yeah,
we're still on the child. She gets traded to a Morton Joe.
Yeah,
she goes into that world where
originally she's going to be one of the brides of a Morton Joe. That's the original plan for her.
They got her in there too young, though.
Yeah, well, he's going to let her grow up,
yeah.
hit puberty, and then I'm sure he's going to
But, of course,
crazy.
his one mentally challenged child,
Rictus
decides that he likes her.
Right.
And so she's got, like, bells in her hair at this point, and she's wearing the what's it called, chastity belt.
Yeah.
And he starts playing with the bells in her hair, and she's like, oh, fuck, I got to get away from here. And Furiosa immediately realizes, I need to shave my head with a razor. Waxes it. She's MacGyver of children.
Right.
Which again, I'm not dogging this part. I'm already done with the fucking opening 2 acts of this movie. So I was just like, whatever.
Well, I'm fine with it because she is the hero of the movie's Furiosa. So I'm fine with her being the focus.
Yeah.
That's why I hated Fury Road, because Max was the sidekick.
Yeah.
And anyone who says he was always a sidekick in the movies, shut your fucking mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. That's just you trying to retcon shit to justify your love of Fury Road. You can love it whatever you want. I don't give a shit if people like it.
Again,
I think you're wrong.
We've done this so much already in this episode. They're 2 separate universes.
Yes.
Love Fury Road. Love Road Warrior separately because they're very different universes.
Right.
Very different. There is maybe 4 gunshot in Road Warrior.
Right.
There is 4,000 gunshot in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
It's like that's why it doesn't stand out. These movies, to me, they're just like every other movie being made.
You can't draw a gun and make it mean anything if everybody has a fucking gun. Whereas in Road Warrior, it's like, oh my god, he's got a fucking gun.
I got to make this shot count.
I'm not going to take my chances here. And the bluff that happens in Road Warrior is so fucking good because nobody has guns or bullets. Yeah. So does he have a bullet or not? You get tension. You get everything. And that little bit of detail took that little bit. Yeah. But in this movie, everybody has a gun, and it's loaded. And it's got a lot of bullets. And they have extra bullets.
They're just dropping bullets on the ground. They don't even fucking give a shit.
Exactly. So that's where the disconnection happens, everybody. Furiosa shaves her head. She ends up fucking escaping. She's bald now. She's, young enough. She hasn't developed as a woman, so she's able to escape and work just kind of like in the underlings.
She disguises herself as a boy.
Yeah.
And works gets
of the Citadel.
Yeah. Somehow they magically forget about her.
Yeah, they just forget about her.
Or Morton Joe's like, where's my...
There's one moment where the other dumb brother, who's like, what's happening here? And he's just like, nothing. Throws the wig away because he's got the wig. She shaved it all off and waxed it to a fucking doily. Yeah. Throws it away. It grows on a tree, which...
just to show the progress of time.
Yeah. But yeah, Furiosa, she ends up getting her hands on. She saves the rig, which she said was out of a video game.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this in Fury Road. They have like lifts and everything. They're trying to pull up a crane to get this arm attached to their new oil rig.
I mean, the scene was to show that she's capable and she's not scared of shit.
Yeah.
She gets like a promotion from doing that.
Right. She gets the big gloves, which is important because the historian gave her a tattoo gun. And she tattooed... I thought this was a cool detail. I actually did. She tattooed the star map to the Oasis on her arm.
Right. Because she wants... Yeah, it's the ultimate goal is to get back there.
Right. And then she gets the gloves from a human male, and she is a child, so they go way past their fucking elbow. They cover the whole tattoo. Right. So no one can... Because what's his name? The dumb brother, or dumb son, Rictus, noticed the tattoo. So now he can't spot it because she's always wearing the glove. So George did a good job here, but I still don't like these opening fucking scenes.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go through the whole movie, but should we talk about the midget in the room?
We do need to get to the first oil rig situation.
Okay.
Because that's what we're getting at. This is where the movie finally, I was like, I like this fucking scene. The first
oil run?
When they take it out, what's
Praetorian Jack.
Praetorian?
Yeah.
I gotta write this down. I did not catch that.
Yeah.
Praetorian.
It's like a title. It's like from the Roman Empire.
Okay, so Jack.
Yeah.
So we get our reveal of Jack and everything. He's gonna drive the new fucking war rig. The real thing here is that it has like a spinning jigsaw thing on the back.
To me, that's just silly.
It's boring.
It's just fantasy shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's not practical. It's not real.
It's nothing. Like, they did so much more fun stuff.
Yeah,
in
it's
Fury
basically
Road.
a Morning Star on the back of their truck.
Mm-hmm.
Like these ball and chains that switch, because you're going to need that when you get attacked by paragliders.
And right between the cargo and the actual like caboose, what do they call it? The cab.
Yeah.
There is the digger arms or whatever.
Yeah,
It's stupid. It doesn't
Too
work.
much.
This is like George being like, "Oh, this is cool. This will be functional."
Right.
But
I mean, like
it wasn't as menacing as anything we saw in Fury Road.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I didn't like it.
So we're driving along, and this is where I think the movie should open up with Furiosa. Because we see her, and now they can do it with cameras and everything. She's rigged up to the bottom of the fucking truck. So she's riding under it. She's got a rail, and she's like pulling herself here and there, to either end of the truck. I thought this was fucking cool. I thought this was a cool way to open up with Furiosa.
Open the movie? So you wouldn't want to know any... I mean, the whole thing is supposed to be the origin of Furiosa.
That, like I said, I would have been happy if that was done in fucking 3 minutes. Because they did nothing to set up Dementius for me. They did nothing to really sell me.
Well, they did have a 40-day war that was in a 30-second a montage.
Right. Like
between the Citadel and between Gastown.
I just don't think that really sold anything to me. That
Another
first half an hour.
bad CGI that irked me. The scene where they're at the bullet farm, and they escape. Praetorian Jack and Furiosa escape, and so there's a gate that's blocking the way. That was clearly Chris Hemsworth green screened into the cab of that fucking monster truck.
Yes, it
looked
was bad.
so fucking bad.
It was bad. But yeah, so this oil rig fight, I really like that scene.
I would love to play the video game of this. Like if you did this shit, and because that would be fun. Like the war rig thing and the fucking the battle at Bullet Farm.
Yeah,
because that would be really fun. But it's just too much spectacle, people. I know. I guess this is the world we live in now.
Yep.
Everything to get people to get off their ass, even though nobody got off their ass to even see this movie.
Yes,
you got to do this shit.
So
I don't like it.
This is why I'm stuck on this first oil rig scene, though. I really liked it for embracing, like, here's how Furiosa learned her fucking chops. There's not as much guns. You see a lot of the pole arm.
I mean, to me though, it was just another callback. It's member berries, dude. It was so
Fury.
many Road Warrior member berries.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I want to tell people they're saying this is the most Road Warrior. No, it's not. You got member buried.
Yeah.
That's what happened to you.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking it is nothing like Road Warrior.
They did a lot of fucking nods to Road Warrior during this, and I wasn't that fucking thrilled about it. But at the same time, for the most part, these scenes, without the fucking abundance of guns, I was getting into it. Because it's mostly the spear bombs and everything.
Yeah.
And then they started getting into the guns. I was like, okay, fucking stop. Everybody's got a gun. Everybody's gun is loaded with 45,000 bullets, and they're just headshotting everybody. There's no tension anymore. Like, but I liked seeing the chops of like having to repatch the gas line and all that. That was cool.
Did not like the CGI fire and the constant no-selling of fire.
Yes.
Like no one felt like they're on fire and they're just like whatever.
Right.
Didn't
It was getting rough. And so now we're getting to the part where Jack is like, hey, because they do like this whole fucking scene where they survive this whole big fucking shootout, and she pulls the gun on him and is like,
and she gets a fucking sawed-off shotgun just like Max.
This comes in a minute.
Yeah,
but he kicks her out of the cab, and I cheered for that part Because I want Furiosa to be a
And
badass
then
of
you
the wasteland.
you get a scene of him walking down the road, reminiscent of the opening scene of Road Warrior, where he's walking toward the with a dog toward the wrecked car.
Yes.
Like it's member berries.
It's
it
so
irritated me. I'm sorry, it had the wrong effect on me, George. It irritated me. It didn't make me go, "Oh man, that's like from Road Warrior." Oh, it warms my heart. I'm like, fucking.
I hated it too.
Yeah.
And I didn't even make that connection, but you're
Well,
goddamn right about it.
Yeah, like I said, it was. I mean, it was subtle.
Yeah.
But if you've seen the movies many times as I have, you pick up on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, you've had 30 years of watching.
40 years.
40 years of watching this movie.
Yeah.
I've had like 5. And
Exactly.
I haven't been able to watch it with another human being who's been like, oh, this is actually a good movie. It's been by myself sometimes. But anyways, I wanted so bad to Furiosa learn her shit on the road. Like, to learn like Max had to learn. To understand that world. But everything she does is confined in the world of Fury Road. Big, huge, guns, abundance, everything. She didn't survive the way. She never ate dog food. Let's just say that.
No.
She never ate dog food. She never had to clean off a lens of like a piece of glass to use as a
Fresh
telescope.
water.
Fresh water her whole life and everything. Like,
Nobody's like malnourished. Well, the people that are begging at the bottom of the Citadel are malnourished, but everyone else is fucking pretty fat and happy.
right. And so she gets pushed out. She's holding her own and all that. And it's supposed to be a tense scene, but I'm like, I'm not buying any of this fucking shit. Oh, I just lost my whole crew. Why don't you come along? I'll teach you everything you need to know. And they just do runs together.
Right. Yeah, he just decides that they can do that.
Act 2, for me, should have been they have a fucked up run and they have to survive the wasteland together. That's where I wish more of this movie went to.
Yeah.
Because I really want her to learn.
Well, the second word, abundance is the first word. Struggle is the second word. There is no struggle.
There's no struggle. The struggle is like, oh, I want to be away from a life of, getting everything I need as a human being. Obviously, there's a lot more to just getting, food and water and all that. But still, it's just, she's getting everything. She has no struggle. She's not eating dog food. None of that shit. And so it bummed me out.
It's the Fury Road world. You have to look at it that way.
Right.
You can't compare the two.
All we get to see in the middle part is Dementis is going further into dementia. Gas Town's going to hell. Their trades are going to shit because all the people are revolting and they fight back on the truck and all that. We get the gift of the sawed-off shotgun. And Murray, I literally wrote in my notes here, sawed off, cut at the knees. Why does it matter? There's guns everywhere. Like, if it would have been a fucking cool scene if we saw them develop a relationship. We don't. Jack is always just like, hey, you take the wheel. Max never lets anybody take the wheel. So, obviously, it's easy for me to separate this guy from Max because of that. So that's not a bad thing. Okay. But it's just funny that he's just like, yeah, you take the wheel. You take it. I don't know.
Because there's also a scene where he lets a war boy. His job is to be the driver. That's what I thought his job was. He's the best driver they have.
Yeah.
And then he's like, war boy, you drive. Because the war boy gets killed, like, later on.
Yeah, it made sense why he did it. I thought the same thing immediately. Because we're actually getting to that scene where we go back to Bullet Town. We know shit's going crazy and all that. Dementia's doing fucked up shit. They go in and he tells Furiosa, no, you're riding into the V8. Well, V8s are extinct. We know this. Yeah. There's one V8 in existence.
And it keeps getting trashed constantly at the beginning of every Mad Max movie.
So she gets a V8 with a couple dirt bikes on the back of it. No war boys. She's just driving herself. We see their convoys that are usually like 4,000 people long.
This was the most confusing scene in the movie for me. I figured it out at the end, but I had no idea where they were, what was going on.
Yeah, I knew immediately where they were just because of the status of it and all that. We got to see a little bit of it before. So I knew where they were, but I was like, oh, I guess Dementia's took it over.
The one good thing, there's a midget character who's immediately killed in it.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
Yeah, Murray was happy about that.
I'm not going to talk about the midget person. I'll call him a little person. I'll give him that respect because if you know the backstory, this is the little kid who was picked on in real life and almost killed himself. So I'm not going to kick somebody when they're down, even when they're that far down to my foot. I have sympathy for that child. But
He did a better job.
It was satisfying seeing him get shot in the head.
He did a better job than Chris Hemsworth. I'll tell him that much.
Yeah, he did.
So, fucking great job. I'm
They didn't have to ugly him up. I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to pick on this little kid. I'm sorry.
Couldn't even let that one.
We all have our things, and mine's that.
So this is a very un-Mad Max scene. Because, I mean, this guy who they have, like, just fucking put in here to be Max surrogate.
Yeah.
And, again, this is the emotional...
Not only that, to remind you of Mel, because he wasn't identical to Mel, but very Mel-like.
Well, he also did the black,
Well, right, because remember, Griff, this is a prequel, so we have to spoon-feed everything about Furiosa to him. Oh, that's where I didn't give a fuck where she got the idea to put grease paint on her fucking forehead.
Oh, by the way, we need to talk about this, because this is when she starts wearing the leather. And when it's opening up, when I'm seeing this scene fresh and she's in the baggy-ass leather, I was like, I hate this.
That's it?
Did you have any thoughts about her in the leather?
No, I had no thoughts. I mean, it was, once again, a callback to Max because one sleeve was missing.
She had the shoulder pad, too.
Yeah, I know.
And
member berries. Listen, watch that South Park episode and get the lesson of member berries.
That's where I was at. That was my big, you got it with the road. You got it with this. You got it with that. That was my big member berries. I was like, why are we trying to make her Max? I get this guy is Max. Why is she doing it too? Because when she eventually adopts her...
Because then in Fury Road, it explains why she bonds with Max, why they're like, bro down. I don't fucking know.
I don't... This movie shouldn't have been in service of Fury Road. Like, it should have been its own fucking thing.
Well, I mean, technically it has to be. It's a prequel.
Okay.
I
just wanted her to adopt her own look. And she does. Yeah. And it's so much better. So that's why I bring it up. Because I ended up liking it just because she, drops it. It's not her. And she adopts her own look, which is so much better.
Yeah. Do you have anything else about the movie? I'm pretty much done with the movie. My critiques of the movie.
The last hour of the movie when it actually gets kind of entertaining, like you said, Bullet Town's a fucking mess. We got sniper shots going on, rockets flying. The land of abundance, we got rockets everywhere.
How they're making those, how they find those, I don't know.
They have a brick stack house structure full of bullets and shit. Like, again,
they fill a fucking tanker with bullets.
Yeah.
A fucking tanker.
Oh, my God. So, I mean, again, the separation. I like that they did the thing where he's clearly not Max. He's willing to sacrifice himself. They get locked by the bridge gate, door.
Yeah.
He goes further, tells her to leave. And she decides to come back and fight for him, sniper.
Yeah, and then he gets kind of nonchalantly killed. I kind of like that. I like that they didn't have a big death scene. I like
that too. I'm glad we didn't skip over that part because they end up escaping together, which was cool. I like that they escaped together. It was a very video game scene. Yeah. How they escaped and everything. Cranes falling over, him jumping, her using a fucking grappling hook on a motorbike. And very video game. They get him out. They start escaping. Dementis and his green screen vehicle catch up. And, they do like a whole fucking day-long thing where they're tormenting him. But we're not...
We see how she loses her arm in that scene, too.
Yeah, that was a cool scene, too. Yeah. I like how George always does these things where they're very subtle. And they just happen, and if you missed it, you missed it. I don't like when it's like, hey, let's get 94,000 fucking shots of this or whatever. So it's just a quick, like a car jams into her, and her arm, like, snaps, and you see it's fucked up. They tied her up by that arm to really torment her.
That's probably the only time Dementis was a menacing character, was that scene.
Yes. That scene I thought was actually kind of good.
Yeah.
It didn't work because Dementis has sucked this whole movie.
Right.
It was out of character at this point, even though it's supposed to be him.
So as a result of all that, there's a big war between the Citadel and Gastown, which we don't see, thankfully. We didn't have another half hour.
This just so happened to be when I took a pee break.
While the 40-day war is happening, Furiosa, by herself, is creating a kick-ass prosthetic arm that can do everything. It's like an Inspector Gadget arm.
It's very Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Just randomly scrap some oil line. She's got a gas line to this. It has a ripcord.
Yeah, lawnmower starter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know. We get.
She takes out the worst car ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a weird movie. Because the middle part, I feel like, gets pretty high up there, and it's kind
That's
of
the one place where it's scarce. Things are scarce. Like, she has this shit car, and then she steals a good car.
Yeah.
The last good car.
Yeah. She has the wheel that the good car needs. The brothers fight over it. She just hops in the driver's seat and takes off.
So then Dementis is running with his tail between his legs. He's lost the 40-day war. She catches up to him. Finally has her revenge. We get this annoying, I guess it's supposed to be dramatic scene where
it's not good. We don't care about Dementis. Toe Cutter, amazing in this scene. If we got fucking Humongous, would have been fucking intriguing as all hell. But it's Chris Hemsworth. And you can't fucking get away from Thor.
Yeah, so they have this dramatic, almost Shakespearean level scene. They're going back and forth and shit. Oh, it's almost Thulsa Doom-like in that it's like, I created you.
Yeah.
You know, you owe me. You know.
Oh, you survived all this, my dear. My little. Well, he doesn't even know she's little D at this point. He thinks he's talking to nobody.
Until she takes the teddy bear.
I hated that too. She dropped the teddy bear.
She no longer, she didn't need it anymore.
Yeah, in the movie, or earlier in the movie, when he first gives her the teddy bear, he goes, "Hey, my kid's died. You can have this." She drops it. She's like, "I don't fucking want this."
So then this was a nice little touch because the whole idea is
who writes history.
Yeah, and so maybe that in his way trying to explain the fantasy elements because. Like the stories of the Greek gods, we just make they get more embellished as time goes on.
Right, the victors.
So I guess that's the one cop out you can have because our whole argument basically through this whole hour and a half, whatever, has been this isn't the Mad Max world. So the cop out is you're right because the reality is it was like the Mad Max world, but you're hearing the historian tell you his tale of the war. So it's going to be embellished. It's going to be, and there was fucking cranes and shit from the, So maybe that's George Miller's, his angle on it to explain it away. I don't know. I mean, so the historian, we get multiple ends for Dementis, but we don't know. So it's a choose your own adventure at the end.
Yeah.
You get to pick how you want Dementis dead.
They try to blend the last ending there by saying, like, he was buried under a fucking peach tree. And then they have Furiosa pick the story back up, picking out a peach, splitting it into 8 splices somehow just by touching on it.
Yeah, that's how great her hand is. That Swiss Army knife hand.
And then feeding it to the wives of Amor and Joe and all that. And that's where it's supposed to hand the torch over.
So then we get a scene where it's like Charlize Theron, like or she's like leading them away to the war rig.
Yep.
And a lot of people have an issue with this scene. I don't give a fuck.
Wait, why?
I don't know why. But I'm like, it's because it's all it's doing is making a bridge to Fury Road.
Yeah, why? What the fuck?
I don't know.
With all the shit that we had an issue with, like, oh my god, this part.
That's the one issue me and Griff didn't have. That apparently a lot of people do. And then at the end, we get scenes from Fury Road, which I didn't have an issue with it, but it made no sense.
No.
So in the end, there's now 5 Mad Max movies, Griff. How would you rank Furiosa in the 5? Give me your 5. Name me 5 Mad Max movies.
Well, it's obvious. You start with Road Warrior, you go to Mad Max, you go to fucking Fury Road, then you go to no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Even the first half hour, I don't think I can do that. So it's got to be Furiosa and then Thunder Road.
And that's my 5 as well. That is the way you should watch them. That's the way you should enjoy them. Well, you watch them every time you want, but that's you're talking about quality. That's the way it goes. These movies are at their heart Aussie grindhouse movies, and they should stay that way.
Well, I like that you said that because that was one of my problems. It didn't feel like half the people were Aussie in it, and I wanted more.
How about this? Explain why her mother had an Australian accent and she has an American accent.
Yeah.
Throughout. What the fuck's up with that?
I didn't like that. Like, I wanted to get lost in the whole, like, we're in this fucking Aussie world and all that. And Chris Hemsworth
They show you it's in Australia. If anyone
right.
If anyone was like, I wonder if it's in Australia, they show Australia from space.
They do the Road Warrior thing where they actually, like, explain, nuclear bombs and everything. But in this one, they actually zoom up or zoom out to show you that it's in Australia.
Yeah.
So that fucking sucked because it's like, we'll make them Australian then. I want some more of that. I want it to be like this whole chocolatey world and all that shit. But no, I don't think he did a very good job of building up Furiosa. Those first 2 acts are dog shit. You wasted 30 minutes of everybody's time with them. You could have done a lot better. You could have built up Furiosa being a warrior of the wasteland so much better. Like, the whole her working under the big rig, I love that. Max isn't getting under there and doing that. Max is driving. So the idea of her learning the intricacies of, like, working under the cars, getting into the driver's seat, doing all that, she's more fleshed out at that point.
Where she's actually learning stuff instead of just being born knowing how to do that stuff. You mean that?
The journey?
Yeah.
The
struggle.
journey?
The struggle.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that she didn't struggle. It's just I wanted that to be the movie and not just, oh yeah, she had this one weird interaction where she shaved her head off with this yeah, obviously that's fucking traumatizing. Like, I would never want some giant rickus motherfucker to try to have sex with me, clearly. But I wanted to see her become more of the war rig, person. I wanted to see her learn the wasteland more because she comes into Fury Road as a badass. But this movie teaches me all she knows how to do is drive a car. And obviously that plays a lot into the Road Warrior world. But she doesn't know every car. She just knows these giant oil tankers. So, I don't know.
All right. So in summation, anyone who says this is Road Warrior, the most Road Warrior, it is because the member berries. They fooled you. It's not. It's a Fury Road world, and that's fine if you enjoy that world.
Yeah.
I want a Mad Max world. Apparently George has a script for a movie called Mad Max the Wasteland, which hopefully would make Max the star, even though I know he's just the passenger in these movies. He's not the driver. But I mean, to me, it's great that it bombed because he needs less budget.
Yeah.
He needs to use his creativity. He needs to. I mean, we solved it right here, Griff. The 2 words, abundance and struggle.
Yep.
You need no abundance and you need struggle.
They got so far away from that in Fury Road, and when I heard prequel, I was like, oh my God, are we taking it a step back? No, they took it a step forward in some ways. They showed us that there actually is so much fucking shit.
So I highly doubt it. I think this is our last ever Mad Max movie, at least by George Miller. I could see some horrible reboot in 10 years.
You know who's going to get it? J.J. Abrams.
I don't know. I hope no one touches that because I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's going to happen. AI is going to fucking do it. What are we talking about?
They're going to find a lightsaber.
AI will do it. We'll all make our own perfect Road Warrior movie. Without the human element at all involved. That's the way it should be.
At this age, it's like, why are we even trying to make fucking box office? What do they call them? The super movies and all that shit.
Blockbusters,
because it's like no one gives a shit about movies anymore.
No,
you saw
you
saw it in theaters at 5:00 on a Monday.
If you can get shit for free, you don't appreciate it, and that's what fucking the internet has done. We don't appreciate. We take everything for granted. That's why music sucks now. Because why should I work a job, a 40-hour-a-week job, and then work on my craft and not get paid for that? That's the mentality. I don't like it.
Yeah, because it goes further than that. It's like, why am I going to try to make something unique and interesting that people might actually be interested in, hearing something new? I need to get in with the algorithm. If I don't get in with the algorithm, I don't get picked up by your TikToks, your Instagrams, your YouTubes, all that bullshit. So we're funneling people down. Make the same exact shit that appeals to the most people, or don't make anything at all.
And that's the thing. People are making. It's going to be. I mean, well, this is perfect for what we were talking about because it's the bleakness. We're going to end on a bleak note.
We are ending on a bleak note.
AI is going to become our entertainment. And it's going to be shit. because you need that human element.
Like this cat just deciding he's part of the episode now.
Yeah.
Just jumping in here, stepping all over the laptop.
So I pity the kids growing up. You're not. Well, you'll always have these old movies to watch, but yeah,
that's going to be a really interesting thing to like talk to kids the movies they grew up on. You know what some of my favorite niece and nephews movies are? Not my favorite niece and nephews, but my niece and nephew's favorite movies are fucking like Three Ninjas, High Mountain, the one with Hulk Hogan in it.
Well, they're kids.
They can't stop talking about that movie though. They don't talk. Well, I guess they do talk about like Troll 2.
Well, and Bluey they talk about all the time.
They don't talk about Bluey. They're too old
okay.
for that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like to hear that. All right. So, and to me, in a dream world, I guess this will be my AI Road Warrior. Mel Gibson will be back in the role. He'll be old, gnarled, fucked up looking, like a guy's been living in the wasteland, and he gets killed at the end. I'm fine with it. I can have closure on Max.
Yeah, I would like a fucking Mad Max world. Mad Max, not Furiosa world. I want a Mad Max world. I would love to see Max die. Well, you know, it's going to be hard. But come on, we've had to accept this about Max. And his fucking struggles for the first 3 movies. It's like, Max got to die. There's no way you can keep living on like this. And yeah, you got to write a strong B character.
Nobody loses teeth. I mean,
Nothing.
this is...
No one's gnarly looking. The first few smiles I saw in fucking Furiosa, I was just like, what the fuck is this place? Is there a dentist on staff?
Yes, the Oasis has a dentist. Yes.
Everybody had the most perfect teeth, and then you get Chris Hemsworth in there with his fucking gnarly nose, apparently, and he's got perfect.
It was so ridiculously.
I
He needed a mustache and glasses to finish the Groucho fucking thing.
I did not notice at all.
All right. I noticed this
him.
went on way longer than we thought.
No, it went on as long as we thought it was.
Well, no one's going to listen anyway, so who cares?
Who cares?
But there you have it, people. That is the definitive breakdown. Well, the definitive is maybe when it finally gets released and we can actually watch through it and take notes.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's a while down the road.
It's simple, though. I know we're going to fucking hear this. This movie bombed because it went, whoa, Furiosa. Furiosa is a cool character to like go down the lane with.
Here's why I bombed. Mad Max at his heart is a cult character.
Yes.
It has always been that way. None of these movies, with the exception of the first one, was a huge success. The first one cost $350,000 to make, made $100 million. Everyone after that down, and they still made money, but it was down. Like Road Warrior made $36 million.
Okay.
So did Thunderdome. Fury Road made its money back. It might have made a little bit of profit.
Really?
Well, it costs like $170 million to make, and then you got to type in advertising. Usually they double it. Advertising.
Okay.
No, it didn't. Make
I thought
shit.
that movie did so much better.
But you know why? We talked about this all the time.
Sorry, we're not actually closing yet. Apparently.
Yes. The rules of the internet.
Yeah.
People talk up because people have such a hard on for this movie. They think it's a bigger deal than it is. It's like
Fury Road.
It's like Snakes on a Plane. Everyone was like, "Fuck yeah, we need to make a movie called Snakes on the Plane." Well, here it is. I'm not going to go see it.
You didn't go see that?
No, I've never seen it and I never will. Because
saw it
I
in
don't live by the
theaters.
rules of the internet. Because if I did, we'd be bigger success than we are. Because you can't believe the hype. All the internet is hype, people.
Yeah, it's just a hype train. I mean, based on that, AEW is the best wrestling organization in existence.
Exactly. It's
never been better.
It's just the loudest fucking wheel gets the grease on the internet.
That's a good point. It's Saturday, right?
I don't know. It feels like it's Sunday now. We've been talking so goddamn
Yeah,
long.
that's why it feels like it's Sunday.
So, Griff, you end the tippy tap, so let's end this right now.
Everybody, we just want to say, no, it's not fucking woke. Anya Taylor-Joy, I have to do this, Murray. I'm so sorry. Okay. Anya Taylor-Joy, an amazing actress. She saved that fucking...
Would you say she's a joy to watch?
I would. She saved that fucking trashy-ass X-Men... what was that X-Men movie we saw?
I think it was New Mutants.
New Mutants. She was the only good character in that movie. I thought she killed it in that. I thought she did a good job in this. I just think George Miller, without Kennedy... What's his name?
Byron Kennedy. Remember his name. Spray some fucking silver paint in your mouth and remember the name Byron Kennedy.
Byron Kennedy.
Heart, the black heart and soul of the Mad Max series.
Because again, George Miller wants to make things happy. This movie needed a little bit more bleakness. It's a dystopian after all, people. We're living in a dystopian Fucking Christ. I don't know where to go with this. So you know what, everybody? You're just going to have to wait until the next time we do a tippy tap. And until then, you will never hear us again until Wednesday.
Okay, I thought you were going to end with the Frasier thing, but all right.
Keep it warm.
Still my line. Yours is I'm listening.
I'm listening.